All right, the time has come. My favorite segments here. I'm putting Reggie on the hot seat with What Does It Mean, covering all the latest hot topics in Minnesota sports. First up, the Golden State Warriors went up 3-2 over the Boston Celtics with a 104-94 win last night. What does it mean for the Celtics' chance to survive and bounce back in Game 6, knowing what we know about the resilience and just the bounce-back ability of this Celtics team?
You know what's crazy is watching these last two games and the Warriors do what they do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Steph goes off in Game 4, but then all of a sudden, what's going on with Steph in Game 5? Oof. You're just like, you don't hit a three, bucko? Like,
streak was broke last night.
Yeah, like that was weird.
Games. Wow.
That was weird.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what's interesting is the Warriors are just winning off pure just like pedigree, I feel like.
For sure.
Because I don't think anybody looks at this series and they're just like, the Warriors are clear, far and away the better team. I don't think anybody looks at this series like that. Boston, I think, is the more talented team. But goodness gracious, if they just can't hold on to the ball, man. So many turnovers, so many just dumb plays out there, and you just want to attribute it to their youth. But, like, man, they've been around for a while now. Like, they've been contending in the playoffs for a while. And you would think that they would learn from their mistakes. And now, with all that they've been through in the playoffs this year alone, they've kind of proven their mettle. But it's just like, you see the talent there. And I think, like, if you're a Golden State fan, you're just like, oh my God, can we just go ahead and win this thing? Like, let's just snatch it. Like, let's just try to get it. We don't want them to
put this away now.
Yeah, put it away because we don't want Boston to really actually see who they are and what they are, which is a really good team. That being said, I think going back to Boston for Game 6, I think Boston is going to win. Let me put on my Charles Barkley hat. Listen.
Terrible.
Listen, the Boston Celtics had to be about the most dumbest team I ever seen. But listen. But first of all, I think Game 6, guarantee it, the Boston Celtics, I think, are going to win. We deserve 7 games in this series. And maybe just for my own selfish desire, because after this, we don't get NBA for 3-4 months. So I'm selfishly picking the Celtics to win Game 6. I think they're going to bounce back because they've been resilient. And also, you've just kind of seen the Warriors pull away, whether it's the third or the fourth. Last night, that bucket from Poole Party. Jordan Poole knocks in that third quarter buzzer beater. And that seemed to just take the momentum all the way into the fourth quarter. And the Warriors just kind of surged and did their thing because the Celtics had an unreal third quarter. I think it was something like they made like 8 straight threes or something like that. It was ridiculous.
Outscored them 35-24. I mean, 11-point lead in the third. Yeah.
But the Warriors stuck close. They weren't able to, get avalanched. And they were able to stick close. And then Poole sinks that 3 at the buzzer. And that just seemed to do something for them. And they just cooked them. Clay. Freaking Andrew Wiggins, man. All the Wolves fans are just like, man.
Don't do it. Don't do it, Reggie.
Man. But, I think the change of scenery was good. And the motivation that he gets from those guys around him, because they need him to be great, so they keep pushing him to be great and to realize his potential. That's important, man. When he slammed home that dunk, that was kind of like the dagger. And then Clay hit the 3. That was even more of a dagger. It's just like, all right, well, thanks for coming, Boston. But like I said, I think when they go back to Boston, they win. And then we come back to Golden State for Game 7. And then it's whoever you got at that point. It's vibes at that point.
I got a little sneaky wild card question for you here.
All
Andrew
right.
Wiggins, you mentioned him, led the team last night, 43 points, led the team with a double-double, 26 points. Steph Curry, ice cold from 3, 0 of 9, snaps his 223-game streak of hitting at least one three-pointer. You think Andrew Wiggins has a chance, if the Warriors go on to win this thing, to be the MVP of the finals, not Steph Curry?
I'm going to look into the camera.
Zoom in. Give us a nice zoom-in shot.
I'm grabbing the microphone because I want to be heard. No. Look. Andrew Wiggins has been sensational.
Yeah.
Really, in this whole playoffs, he's been phenomenal. He's been, like, I don't know where they would be without him, honestly. Because, Jordan Poole, as great as he is, sometimes he takes some dumb shots and you're just like, dude, what are you doing? And, he only played 14 minutes yesterday off the bench for all that's been said about him and his productivity on that team. But sometimes he goes absent and you're just like, man, for as good as Clay is, I don't think Clay is the Clay of old. And, he hit some big time shots yesterday and they needed those shots. Like they bailed out a bad game by Steph. And, Steph was like, this is a good team win. Yeah, the team bailed Steph out because he did not have a good night last night. But that being said, the opportunities that Wiggins gets is because of the spacing on the floor due to guys like Steph and guys like Clay being out there. Because last night, I don't think I saw a wide open three from Steph at all. They were all contested. They made an extra push to be all up in Steph's grill last night. He was smothered for most of the night, where he was just trying to get up there and just jack up shots and just try to will himself into a rhythm because he was getting nothing easy yesterday. But you know who was kind of getting some easy shots? I saw a few wide open shots. Andrew Wiggins didn't make any of his threes, but he had some wide open threes and he had some wide open lanes to go through because guys like Steph Curry is on the floor and they are determined not to let him beat you like more than once. And so Wiggins gets a lot of opportunities. So just by virtue of having the best player out there on the floor, Wiggins is getting these opportunities and he's making the most of them. So don't take anything away from him. But come on, man. It's Steph. He has one more good game in this series, and it's his finals MVP. It has to be.
2015, remember, Warriors beat LeBron, and Andrew Iguodala kind of snuck over LeBron and Steph Curry, who won the MVP that year, to win the finals MVP. Last night, Steph goes 0 for 9 from 3. Wiggins goes 0 for 6, still led the team, 26 points. Porter and Green both go 0 for 2. They shot 9 of 40. Thank goodness for Klay Thompson. He went 5 of 11 from 3.
Yeah, man.
22% from three-point land, and you still get the dub?
Yikes.
Man, that's tough to swallow if you're a Boston Celtic fan. Not sure what more you can ask for defending the three-pointer from Steph Curry, Wiggins, and some others. All right, next one.
But look, hold on real quick, Luke.
Yep.
I'm looking at Steph Curry's stats in these finals games.
Yeah.
Game 1, they lost. He scored 34.
Right. Yeah.
Game 2, they won. He scored 29. They lost game 3. He scored 31. Game 5, 43. Game 4, 43. Game 5, 16. So if you're gonna give him a mulligan, okay, maybe you don't expect him to go for 40, but if he keeps this clip up where he's going 30, 29, 31, like he's right around 30 points a game, give or take, besides the game last night, you got to give it to him.
I'm sure there's some whispers, maybe Wiggins, kind of fun to talk about, but odds-on favorite has to be smash Steph Curry if the Warriors do indeed go on to win this Game 6 Thursday night, 8 p.m. TNT. Last one, what does it mean? ESPN's latest mock draft has the T-Wolves selecting Ohio State power forward E.J. Liddell for need, but says Kansas small forward Reggie could be the pick if Tim Connelly is drafting for best available. What does it mean for the Wolves draft game plan when choosing to draft the bigger pressing need versus just the best overall player available?
We talk about the draft a lot. And what's the thing that we say all the time?
Best available. Don't get
Best.
cute. Don't
Yeah.
get cute. You look back in 2-3 years, the roster's changed up. Just take the best player available.
Best player available. And look, if it's the Kansas guy, fine. But you know what we saw a lot from the Wolves last year is there were just times where the shooting just wasn't there. And I think that was kind of tough to swallow, especially seeing them in the playoffs where, they would get out to these big leads and then they wouldn't be able to sustain them because when the chips were down, when the game slowed down, you needed somebody to go out there and get you a bucket, and nobody was able to really do that consistently. What's tough is EJ Liddell, love the guy to death. We went to the same high school. Fun fact. I always say that whenever I talk about EJ Liddell. 2-time Illinois Mr. Basketball.
So butterfly effect, you could say, had you not gone to that high school, maybe EJ Liddell would not be the EJ Liddell we know today. That's how it works, Reggie.
No, I'm not saying that at all. No.
All right.
But he led my high school to back-to-back state championships, and that was something that we hadn't ever done before, which was really cool, really awesome. He's a hometown, just like Jason Tatum is a hometown hero, EJ Liddell is a hometown hero. EJ Liddell is one of those players that benefited from staying in college for several years, developed his game, got some skill, and really was one of college basketball's best players by far, no question. So I am high on him. That being said, EJ Liddell is as tweener goes. Like, he has a lot of skill, but he's one of those bigger guys that is not necessarily a big man. So it's like you don't throw him down there in the paint and see what he does. You know who I kind of compare him to is maybe like a Julius Randle. And Julius Randle was a little bit of a late bloomer, a late blossomer. And he's found a way, he's found a niche, he's found a way to really kind of maximize his game in the NBA. EJ Liddell still has a ways to go as a shooter. And this is a shooting league. And while I want to say, it'd be a luxury for them to take a guy like that, they kind of need a guy who can come in and make an impact right away, help them just get a bucket. And I don't know if EJ Liddell is that type of guy, but if they feel like they have the pieces in place to where they don't have to lean on a guy like EJ Liddell, then take him, let him develop, and see what he develops into, because I do think that he's going to be a talent in this league for a long time. But right now, I think he's a bit of a tweener, and you're just like, man, I don't know. Like, I don't know what exactly to get from him. I think, another comparison could be like a guy like Zion. He's not as explosive as Zion Williamson, obviously, but you're just like, man, Zion is just a guy who can attack the basket and go get you a bucket that way. And maybe Liddell is kind of in that same class, but it's a shooter league, man. And you're just like, I don't know if we have the time, for him to develop in the way that he needs to be a guy that, that you need. But he is a very intriguing option for the Wolves.
Yeah, T-Wolves of the 19th pick. Draft coming up June 23rd, 9 days away. There's a little bit more buzz and excitement around the T-Wolves in the draft this year because they brought in Tim Connelly. He drafted Jared Vanderbilt out of Kentucky, so he's very familiar with what he brings to the table. And maybe lack of shooting range, overall scoring prowess might cause Minnesota to look to upgrade the power forward position, making Liddell potentially very attractive. We'll find out, though, next weekend. Number 1 and number 2 picks, kind of up for grabs. Jabari Smith out of Auburn, Chet Holmgren out of Gonzaga. Magic owned the number 1 pick. Oklahoma City Thunder owned the number 2 pick. Going to be fun to see how all that shakes out here next weekend.